When Jonathan Majors was suddenly dropped by his management team, by his PR team, started losing multiple jobs in Hollywood in the entertainment industry, despite, of course, he has been arrested and had been charged with domestic violence, but it just didn't seem to fit for a lot of people. We've seen people do a lot of bad stuff in Hollywood and people stick by them. So it seemed like maybe something else was out there. Maybe people knew something that everybody didn't know. We even said here on this channel, we speculated that very same thing. Something seems to be happening. Well, yesterday we had this news. Jonathan Majors faces more abuse claims from multiple victims, according to reports. Now, again, we should reiterate every time we talk about this, we want the facts to come out. We want the absolute facts, innocent until proven guilty. But at the same time, you have people reacting to this news in the moment. You have people that are connected to him who are separating themselves completely from Jonathan Majors at this point. And what did we say? Why would they just drop him because of this one allegation, because of this one arrest, because of this one charge, when people have been kept for far, far less? Maybe it had something to do with this stuff coming down the pipe. To his credit, his lawyer has come out and said, the same lawyer who came out 3 weeks ago and was very aggressive saying he is innocent, we're going to exonerate him. His lawyer is now coming out and saying, hey, these allegations are not true. He'll be fully exonerated. Don't worry. Basically saying the exact same thing about these new allegations of abuse that are coming out. But to me, as someone who covered this thing from the beginning, saw multiple people in the film industry, in the theater industry, send out tweets as soon as Jonathan Majors got arrested and be like, yeah, everybody knew this dude was an abuser. He was abusive. He's a sociopath. We're glad something's finally happening. And then suddenly deleting their tweets 2 days later, maybe after being contacted by lawyers. This is starting to make a lot of sense to me why we saw so many people move away from him.
This whole situation is a disaster for Marvel. And as I've said many, many times, I have no sympathy whatsoever for them. They deserve the position they have found themselves in. And right now, you put yourself in such a difficult spot when you start to take these general sweeping stances on things about believe all women or Black Lives Matter. Now you're caught in the middle of a disaster, which the right answer is you don't do anything until there's an actual investigation. That's ultimately how the right way that this is handled. Marvel has decided that that is not the way they want to do business. Marvel wants to virtue signal. Marvel wants to pander. So now, because you as a company have decided to embrace all of this nonsensical ideology, you're in a real tough spot right now, because the fan base that you have cultivated, they demand that you take a stand right now. The accusations, I guess, I haven't seen any evidence. So we've only seen
the only evidence that we all have seen, right, other than the police report, what was put out there and the story that was out there, the only evidence we've seen was released. Now we're finding out actually more about this. Jonathan Majors' lawyer's husband is the one who's his crisis manager. He is the one that leaked this stuff to TMZ. The text messages that made it look worse for Jonathan Majors, that not only acknowledged that, yes, there was a violent altercation, that they had a violent fight, proved that that actually happened, but also that it may have started when she tried to reach for his phone to see if he was texting a girl or whatever. Nothing about her hitting him first. She said, I shouldn't have reached for your phone. That's how the fight started. And then everything else that went in there, I found this really interesting because this Variety article goes over this whole thing. Chaudhry's husband, Andrew Bork, is serving as Majors' crisis publicist and doubled down on the narrative that Majors was the victim when he released a series of texts on March 30th that were intended to be exonerating. We've shown all of those things. We went over those text messages. But for many who are in business with Majors, the text messages had the opposite effect and raised more questions than they answered, namely why the woman had lost consciousness. Quote, it read like a bad Lifetime movie. They basically look like the text messages of a textbook abused woman, says one person who's working with Majors on an upcoming project. Everything that they've done, the things that they have showed, have not gone well for them. And of course, we've seen this shit before. We've seen one person allege something and all of a sudden people hop on board to try to get a payday, to try to do whatever. But sometimes we've also seen reality come out. The reality that, oh, this person did this to me too, and nobody paid attention when I told people or whatever, then they start to come forward.
Right.
We want the truth at the end of the day. Jonathan Majors' lawyer on March 26th or whatever told us there's a video. We have a video that's going to prove his innocence. that's going to prove he did nothing. Where the fuck is that video? Because right now, everybody needs to see it. Jonathan Majors is losing fucking jobs. Everyone's dropping him. You're telling us that you have this evidence. You just won't show anybody.
It's almost to the point of no return. It's almost fallen into the territory of it doesn't even matter what the truth is because people have already decided what has happened. If they keep waiting, a video is not going to offset it.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Jonathan Majors is guilty. I don't know. What I do know is if he's innocent, if you have this evidence, now's the time to show it. Because everything you've told us so far, you told us we have the victim recanting. You showed us your proof of that, which was those text messages that made it look really fucking bad for Jonathan Majors. And you said you had this video, you said you have a witness, all this stuff. In the court of public opinion, Jonathan Majors is losing right now.